Okay, Frank. The Professional Bowlers Tour has traveled to the northern Ohio city of Akron for the finals of a major event, the $250,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions. Our telecast location today, as always, is in the suburb of Fairlawn. For each year, 52 winners are greeted in this friendly suburb by All-American signs like this: Dave Ferraro, our tournament leader. Hello again, I'm Chris Schenkel. A pleasure to welcome you to our live telecast. When Firestone embraced this event 26 years ago, it gave instant credibility to the professional bowlers. Helping was a simple format. 52 winners are allowed to compete. They do over 48 games. These winners, a total of 357 PBA titles. All right, after 48 games, we're down to the final 5. One of them will win $50,000 and the indelible fact that he is the winner of a major event. All 5 have a chance, including our tournament leader, Dave Ferraro. Let's meet them. ABC Sports presents, live in its 29th season, the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today, from Fairlawn, Ohio, it's the $250,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions. We asked each of the 5 finalists to tell us what winning the Firestone would mean. In our first match, 3-time champion Mark Baker of Huntington Beach, California. His answer:
2 things. Number 1, I'd have my place in bowling history that nobody could ever take away. Number 2, a feature in Sports Illustrated, a lifelong dream.
His opponent in the first game, Perrysburg, Ohio's Don Genalo, a 6-time winner, wanting his first major.
The Firestone mean a lot to me. I have 2 goals, 2 immediate goals. One is to win again. I haven't won in 4 years. And the other is to win a major. And this is the most prestigious tournament we have, and I'd love to win my first major at the Firestone.
The winner of that match will meet the defending champion, Ballard Jr. of Richardson, Texas, who could be the first ever to win this event 2 years in a row.
Winning the Firestone today would probably be the other goal, the only goal that I haven't ever achieved. I've won in front of my hometown, I've won the U.S. Open, and I've won the Firestone before, but winning 2 Firestones would probably, put me, above every goal that I've ever wanted to do.
And the semifinal game is Tony Westlake of Edmond, Oklahoma, looking to improve upon his second-place finish right here at Riviera Lanes in 1988.
Well, Bo, I've won a couple of tournaments, but I think everybody forgets those. But if you win the Firestone, everybody's going to remember that forever. So this will be the biggest day of my bowling life.
The Firestone tournament leader has won 2 of his 4 PBA titles in the state of Ohio. Dave Ferraro is from Kingston, New York.
Well, for one, I think it's the most prestigious tournament of the year, and also it gives you a better shot to be in the Hall of Fame. I think once you win this, your name goes in the record books, and I don't think anybody forgets the winner of the Firestone.
There you have our 5 finalists in the Firestone Tournament of Champions, live on today's Professional Bowlers Tour telecast.
This is the 26th Firestone Tournament of Champions, and this capacity crowd is made up of reporters, bowlers, sponsors, and fans from all over the country. They've been treated to exciting matches all week long and tremendously high scores. Now, the Firestone is the tournament that put professional bowling on the map, and it's still the most coveted tournament by all the professionals. And the man with me in the announce booth is a man who knows that all so well. He's the defending champion, and today he has a chance to do what no one else has ever done, win back-to-back Firestone Tournament of Champions. And Del, I'm sure there's got to be a lot of extra pressure on you today.
I'm not looking at it as extra pressure. I think the pressure's on the opponents that I'm up against. I'm out there, I'm real confident. I think it's time that I won again, and if I do win back-to-back, I know that I'll be the only one that's ever achieved that goal, and that'll just make me very ecstatic.
Good luck, and I think you can do it. The big football may be working. Let's see how you have to play the championship pair. First place, there's oil 41 feet down the lanes this week, and there's very dry the last 19 feet of the lane. Now, the oil is equal gutter to gutter. There's no hold spot, no oil on the outside, so you get what you hit. Now, the 2 big hook ball players will be playing a hook around the second arrow, almost all the way out to the channel into the 1-3, and we have 3 straight ball players who will be playing right around the second arrow into the 1-3 pocket and they'll shoot some pretty good scores, Chris, and there's some big money at stake.
Isn't there, though? A total of $250,000. Look at that final game. The two in the finals bowling for $78,000. 2015 and 10. We're ready to get into that very first match here at Riviera Lanes. And it'll be a Californian and a native New Yorker going head-to-head. And, of course, we're speaking of Don Genalo, originally from Long Island, now bowling out of Perrysburg, Ohio, and Mark Baker, Huntington Beach, California, his opponent. First shot, Firestone. Don Genalo, 8th Firestone appearance, his best finish, 4th in 1986. And here he is, colorful, gregarious Mark Baker, 5th Firestone, finished 2nd in 86, 5th in 1988. Nice crossover strike, Bo. So a little good fortune on the part of the Californian.
Baker, the big, powerful player. He has a 5-step delivery. He has that cupped release at the top. Good push away, and it's a tremendous wrist action, and he throws the biggest hook, I think, of all the players today. Ballard throws it kind of more of a curve and a little bit softer, so Baker trying to capitalize on an early break.
Coming up a little high. He has left the 4.
To set up the championship pair, you saw Baker crossing over on 28. Lane 28 hooks quite a bit more than 27. 27 kind of holds and should favor the down and in player like Janello. The hooking lane 28 should favor the big hook ball players.
So Baker continues to mark. If you just joined us in our first game, it's Baker and Don Genalo. The winner meet Del Ballard, to whom Bo talked a few moments ago. Then Tony Westlake, followed by the tournament leader, Dave Ferraro. Now at the strike of Don Genalo. Second frame. Janello, the fighter type. Nicknamed Bigfoot, wearing size 12 bowling shoes.
Long span. He's got a kind of a shuffle 4.5-step delivery. Just ideal style. Locked arm swing, shoulder high. Then he has the deep knee bend and really kind of posts that shot, that good follow through, and he sets it until the ball hits the pins. A great practice, especially under pressure. As you look at that real long span, full 5.5-inch grip in that club. Come on.
All but the 10-pin. Satisfied, not with the fact he left it, but because of the hit, he thought he might have been worse.
Janello, a college player, went to Robert Morris University, won the College Union All Events in 1977, beating fellow PBA champion Jeff Bellinger. Easy spare, the 10-pin.
Checking his fingers in his glove, not happy with the release, Bo.
Well, it's so hot in here. The weather in Akron has been 80 to 85 degrees all week long, and it's about the same right now. And so it's very warm environment in the bowling center, and all the players may have trouble holding on to the ball.
Spare up for Baker. Goes very close to the channel, and it's a second strike. Earlier, we asked Mark what a Firestone win would mean to him today.
My game evolved to where I really had no timing, and I tried to do something I wasn't. I got my power out of the game. I went back to Reno, Nevada, saw my coach, Bill Julian. He got me straightened out in about 2 days, and I'm sitting here today. Thanks, Bill.
So Mark Baker thanking the man that got him out of his slump. We know what the Firestone means to him. Tell you more about Mark Baker after this.
We put our Firestone Firehawk GTX to the test, and won. The H-rated Firestone Firehawk GTX all-season performance radio, head-to-head against Goodyear, Goodrich, and General. It beat them all. Firestone, tires that meet the test.
I'm beat. So's the competition.
The Firestone Firehawk GTX, backed by a 40,000-mile limited treadwear warranty. Buy 4 by May 31st and get $50 back. most people use Armor All Protectant. That way, they know they're covered. Others just like to know they're covered. Of course, there are alternatives, but only Armor All works like Armor All.
I used to have dandruff, so I tried Head & Shoulders. Then I tried Selsun Blue. Blue is better.
Selsun Blue relieves dandruff flaking better than Head & Shoulders, and doctors recommend it more than Head & Shoulders, Denorex, and Tegrin.
Blue is better.
Selsun Blue.
It's spring yet summer-like today, and the banners fly. We're at the Firestone Tournament of Champions. We're in our first match. If you've just joined us, Don Genalo had passed through these portals, these doors, as did 51 other champions for this $250,000 event. Don with the spare up, shooting in the fourth. He opened with a double, then marked with a spare, now his third strike of his first match. Okay, Don Genalo. We asked him earlier that he'd bowled poorly the last two outings. What has he been doing to make it better?
I think the problem I had in Grand Prairie was I was trying too hard. I predicted that if I led the tournament, I'd win, and I tried to win the tournament with each shot. I'm going to try and go out there today and be a little easier on myself and just try to make good shots instead of trying to win the tournament with each shot that I throw.
And that was a good shot to take the lead from Mark Baker, momentarily at least, leading by 9 pins. Janello, who was fourth in the Pinole Open and second at Quaker State. From overhead, Mark Baker. And there it is. 7-10.
Chris, that's about the most unusual 7-10 split I have ever seen. The ball was almost solid in the pocket, and he has to really get lucky to make it. We saw Mark Roth make it years ago by bouncing the 10 pin over into the 7, but that ball was an apparent good hit, and even Baker had to turn around and say, what happened?
So it's an open frame. We were speaking of Mark Roth. He finished 14th, had a bowling ball stolen, and here's how Mark did the 7-10.
Some 10 years ago, you see how the ball double kisses the pin, and the pin bounces over the 10 pin into the 7. Obviously, Roth like that, and as you said, was in contention here. Let's see if Baker can recover from that really bad break.
And now Mark Baker, the Californian, played with the second split Nelson. It ain't easy out here on tour.
No way. As he slides in very light, he leaves a 2-8-10. As I said, the left-hand lane here, this championship here, 27, will not hook back or finish as much as the right-hand lane. It should give Ballard and Baker some trouble. So far, trouble for Baker.
And also very quickly, he now trails Don Genalo by 34, who has a double working, and now shooting in the 6th frame of the first match. Head-to-head, you win, you advance. You lose, you get $10,000.
Watch how straight Janello walks the line compared to the big hook ball players.
Four-pen. Don has been noted to talk to the bowling ball. His sign language sort of tells you the story of how he felt about the shot. In other words, he was lucky to get away with only the 4.
Well, he's playing the proper line. Around the second arrow, playing the track or worn area on the right side, and it favors his type of shot.
There's Mary Janello of Perrysburg, Ohio. Just so nervous, and why not? This is the 16th stop of our winter tour, and it's the major event, the Firestone. With picture book follow-through, Don Genalo with a strike in the 7th frame, leading by 33. More after this.
I remember when I was a young man. father telling me about the Acoma Indians. Their culture and history were one of America's greatest glories. Well, now I got the time to see it for myself. Of course, affording it's another matter. I wasn't sure I could make it, but AARP helped with discounts on hotels, motels, even the car I rented. So here I am. And you know what? My father was right.
AARP, making a difference.
Hurry, he's waiting for the tape. Come on.
Now, for every time life turns up the heat, a new kind of antiperspirant, Degree.
2 minutes to air.
New Degree is body heat activated. Every time your body heat rises, Degree turns on extra protection. So when life turns up the heat, Degree has you covered.
You made it. Punch up camera one.
New Degree. Your body heat turns it on.
The U.S. goes head-to-head with East Germany in a gymnastics first, plus the final race before the Run for the Roses. All next on ABC's Wide World of Sport.
Doubleheader Wide World Gymnastics and Racing. Mark Baker to recover. Crossing over, and now he's faced with oh boy, another split, the 310. He had back-to-back open frames. At the fourth frame, he led by 1 pin. And now he'll have to try to fit that 16-pound bowling ball between the narrowest of openings in order to get both. A little bit cross lane. Last night he had to get a spare and 8 pins in order to get into the telecast. Here's Bo.
Well, Del Ballard, do you see Mark Baker with the big hook ball struggling out there? You also roll the big hook ball. Any game plan?
The left lane is tighter to me quite a bit, but it's like down the lane, and so I'm just going to try to go with a little softer ball speed and maybe hit it just a little bit harder and make sure I stay firm on the right lane because it will hook back and go out there and be aggressive.
You've won here before. Good luck in the next match. Chris?
All right. All but the 7 pin on the left lane. Young man recently married to Jeannie, married in November. And Jeannie is here cheering him on. Living now in Huntington Beach, California. Mark was born in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Then lived for years in Garden Grove, California. High school All-American basketball player. And has a great desire to be a commentator someday. Well, he's glib enough.
He was really excellent at this morning's Champions Breakfast, which all 5 players spoke to the press and answered questions. He was, in fact, quite comical and very loose. Unfortunately, he's trailing this man by 34 pins, 8th frame.
And Don doubling that strike in the 8th frame. So it's more and more now that Janello will go against the defending champion.
The championship pair is obviously favoring Janello, and he's playing a shot between the 2nd and 3rd arrows. He's sliding right about the center of the lane and rolling a pretty straight shot, and that seems like the best shot today. And I think the 2 hook ball players, Baker obviously already having trouble.
Thought he had them all. The 10, that shot was in the 9th frame, but comfortable lead of 44.
Something we have today that we've never had before, especially in a major tournament. All the pins are identically matched. There's 21 pins in each lane, and they're all 3 pound 8 ounces. No 3 6s, no 3 7s. All weighed out by tournament director and maintenance director Lenny Nicholson.
Don Genalo starting in a position that's not common to him when he wins, because 5 of his 6 wins were from the top seed position. In other words, had to bowl only 1 game. But now, Mark Baker, 29 years old, 6'4", 225. Shake your head, Mark. I don't blame you.
Well, what's happened out here, the oil, as we said, is equal gutter to gutter, so there's no hold spot or nothing to throw the ball up against to make the ball set in the pocket. And with it 41 feet down the lane, a ball like Baker's doesn't have the time to make the break, and if he points it, it hooks too high.
So it is Mark Baker's 26th telecast in his 10-year professional career. and he will have to be content with the $10,000. And Don Genalo now getting a step closer, and his opponent will be the defending champion, Ballard. ABC Sports presentation of professional bowlers will be back after this word from our local stations.
We put our Firestone Firehawk GTX to the test and won. The H-rated Firestone Firehawk GTX all-season performance radio, head-to-head against Goodyear, Goodrich, and General. It beat them all. Firestone, tires that meet the test.
I'm beat. So's the competition.
The Firestone Firehawk GTX, backed by a 40,000-mile limited treadwear warranty. Buy 4 by May 31st and get $50 back.
On the next ABC Saturday Mystery.
I think I poisoned Adam, don't you, Lieutenant?
It does look that way. The Deadly Dentist or the Wicked White? The dentist did it. An all-new Columbo.
First place for Best Newscast, the single most important award presented to a news team by the Associated Press, and 27 News won it. First place honors also went to 27 Sports for outstanding feature reporting. And 27 News was recognized for going the distance when we brought you complete coverage of Hurricane Hugo on the scene in South Carolina. 27 News, once again recognized for Best Newscast. See the difference. Tonight at 6 and 11 on 27 WHTM.
Chevy's ads say they're winning in Ford County, Illinois. Cute idea. Fact is, Ford sold more trucks than Chevy in Ford County, Illinois, Ford County, Kansas, Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania, and Chevy Chase, Maryland. In fact, Ford outsold Chevy all over America in 1989. And Chevy keeps saying they're winning. Winning what?
Now save $750 or get 6.9 financing on F-150 only at your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
WHTM TV 27, Harrisburg.
The Pro Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Firestone, tires that meet the test. By Scope, the best thing first thing in the morning. And by True Value Hardware. For quality selection and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice.
Here in Fairlawn, Ohio, Don Genalo with 7 strikes has eliminated Mark Baker, 227 to 182. $10,000 for Baker in the Firestone. Here's the man that won $25,000 in winning the first Firestone in 1965. Billy Hartwig, Triple Crown winner, great bowling man in Memphis, Tennessee now. Delightful guy. Here's a look at the Budweiser Kingpin standings. Points are awarded based on tournament finishes, and through 15 tournaments, here is the way it stands. Monticelli, 659. Pensac, who won 3 tournaments this year, 551. We're ready to go with our second match. Don Genalo against Ballard Jr. of Richardson, Texas, winner of the U.S. Open, the Masters, and the Firestone.
Come on. Ballard coming in light on the left-hand lane. He has a good feel of this championship pair, Chris. And year after year, as a player comes back to the Firestone, players such as Carmen Salvino have bowled in all 26. You know the championship pair probably as well as you know any pair of lanes in the country. So Ballard knows what to do.
Marking with a spare. Been practicing off to the right, and of course got his practice shots prior to going into this game, but Janello has that victory under his belt. 227 to Baker's 182, shooting first on the right lane.
You see Janello's climbed to the top 5, 48 games this week. First 3 rounds, 24 games qualifying, 24 finals.
Incidentally, we mentioned Monticelli. He finished 13th in the Firestone. Here, you're looking at what's happening with Wide World of Sports today. U.S. versus East Germany, women's gymnastics, all the beauty and competitive spirit of the young ladies and the thoroughbreds. Last chance in prepping for the Kentucky Derby, Bo.
Chris Housebuster, wire-to-wire winner in that Derby trial. He'll go up at about 2 to 5. Good luck.
Delighted with the fact that he left only the 2-4.
Don Genalo had a 91% pocket percentage when he won the King Louis tournament in both 1983 and 1985. That means that almost every time he hits the pocket, he carries. And a very simple spare here, 2-4. All you have to do is touch that 2-pin.
Okay. Striking a spare for Janello. Now Ballard, who opened with a spare in the first frame, as a standing room only crowd looks on.
The deep inside line. Look at how far left he is on the approach. Come on, baby.
There he is, smooth, relatively aggressive, wearing that wireless microphone.
Of the 5 players in the championship round, he has the best natural form of all players. He stays low, much like Marshall Holman, has that cuff wrist style, a long flowing slide, uses very little muscle in the shot, and when he gets cooking, he is tough.
Come on, flip, baby. Yes!
All right.
You hear him say flip, baby, and that's what he means is the ball spins about 2/3 the way down the lane, and then it flips into a roll or a hook roll at the back end. He wanted it to flip over so that that ball made that sharp break on the little bit tighter lane, lane 27. It worked perfect on that shot.
All right, a strike in the third for Don Genalo, whose last victory was in Windsor, Ontario in 1986.
Chris, Seattle Open, May 19th, and then we go on to Portland, and then 2 tournaments in Vegas, and my favorite's going to come up June 9th, jumping ahead almost a month. We'll have the seniors on ABC television. Weber, Salvino, Anthony, all the big stars of years past.
Janello with the cheering section off to the right, begging him to do it.
Don Genalo playing a line that he's so familiar with. He cashed as an amateur in 1981 in the Long Island Open out in Garden City, Long Island, which was his home house, and then he won that tournament in 83, and that's his favorite line, between the second and third arrows, straight down the line.
All right, 20 years ago at nearby Kent State University, the invasion of Cambodia triggered a tragic protest there. May 4th, students, family, guest speakers will commemorate this event. At this site, a permanent memorial to those 4 killed during the protest.
A kiss? No, right now. You really don't want to kiss me.
Dangerous. Very dangerous.
Give me a minute, honey.
Don't let morning breath ruin a good morning. Get Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients to kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Didn't I hear something about a kiss?
Right here. Right now.
Kiss.
It is time for a kiss.
Scope, the best thing, first thing in the morning.
Hey, you. Put that kiss right here.
The rush of icy clean freshness. Now you can feel it every morning with the power of peppermint. Peppermint Scope.
The bill's twice as big as usual.
'Cause, honey, you ate twice as much.
With extra strength Tums EX, even twice the heartburn's no sweat. It's twice as strong, twice as fast as regular Rolaids. American Doug DeWitt defends his middleweight crown against Great Britain's Nigel Benn. It's Schlitz Malt Liquor Professional Boxing tomorrow on ABC Sports.
All right, on the right, our Firestone host, George Alcott, Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, and on the left, Tom Reese, Firestone Vice President of Tire Sales. Del Ballard.
Set up.
Trying to get that strike to take a 20-pin lead. Coming into the frame, leading by 10, and now he has left the 3, 6, 9, 10. Del Ballard all in red today. Red bowling ball and tribute to his victory last year here at Firestone. Got him. Okay. Al Ballard continues to hold his lead, now by only 6. Here's Bo.
Chris, the man who will bowl the semifinal match, Tony Westlake. Tony, how'd you practice and what's your game plan?
Well, Bo, I had the right lane a little different than they were all week. I have to move my eyes a little left to keep it from hooking. You saw Mark Baker's ball go high every time he threw it to the right on the right lane, so I'm going to go a little straighter on the right lane. The left lane's about the same as they were all week.
Tough customer coming up, Chris. Still a lot left in this match.
Okay. Speaking of tough, Del Ballard, after the spare, strike in the 5th frame. This is our second game. In the first match, Don Genalo defeated Mark Baker, 227-182. Janello with the spare working, trailing by 6. 5th frame. All right. And as Mary looks on, off to the right, you hear pin fall. It's the man that Bo just talked to, Tony Westlake, staying loose, practice shots off on the practice lanes.
Don Genalo playing the down and in shot, and he's standing. This is the lane that it goes almost straight. He's spinning almost in the center. He'll slide on what we call the 20th board, about the center of the lane, and watch how he'll play a trajectory almost straight over the second arrow.
And that high hit, first trouble for Don Genalo. Look at that, 6, 7, 10.
Not trusting the shot, he yanks it up in the nose, has a 6, 7, 10 split. He needs to get the ball over here by the 6 pin and slide it over into the 7. Here's how he needs to make it. Roll it right over in there. The ball will do the work. Tough shot.
All right. So like in our last match, which Janello won, Mark Baker ran into trouble. So with a 20-pin lead, Ballard can increase it to 30.
Yeah!
Which he does.
Well, that's the shot that Ballard must have right there. Kick out the 10-pin.
Dell had some injury problems, and he told us about them a little earlier.
At the beginning of the fall tour in '89, I was doing some inventory right before the first week in my pro shops, and I found 2 or 3 balls that weren't on display. I put them up on the shelf about 8 feet up, and I set them a little bit too far out. The shelf collapsed, and one of the balls landed on the lower left side of my back, and I wasn't able to bowl for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and it took me about a month and a half, 2 months to get back to form.
Okay, Del Ballard with the right bowling ball today, leading by 40. More after this.
I used pressure-treated lumber, and I still have $800 in water damage. How come?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal protection.
This patio was supposed to last for years. Now I have $1,200 in damage. Why?
Your concrete wasn't protected with Thompson's Water Seal. Thompson's penetrates into wood, brick, or concrete to form a barrier water can't get past, even when driven by 98-mile-per-hour winds.
Let it rain. This time I use Thompson's, a great defense against repair expense.
Thompson's, the first name in lasting protection.
We put our Firestone Firehawk GTX to the test, and won. The H-rated Firestone Firehawk GTX all-season performance radio, head-to-head against Goodyear, Goodrich, and General. It beat them all. Firestone, tires that meet the test.
I'm beat. So's the competition.
The Firestone Firehawk GTX, backed by a 40,000-mile limited treadwear warranty. Buy 4 by May 31st and get $50 back.
The U.S. goes head-to-head with East Germany in a gymnastics first, plus the final race before the Run for the Roses. All next on ABC's Wide World of Sport.
Man can have no finer friend than this man, the founder of the PBA, who's just going into the Akron Baseball Hall of Fame. And nothing can be more beautiful than his wife, Peggy.
Stayed out with those 2 till 11 o'clock, eating yogurt last night. Very entertaining couple. Now Janello trails by 40, must get it going.
Looked like it wasn't. 7-pin.
Don Genalo had his right kidney removed in 1984, and sometime he is suspect for endurance, Chris, especially with the heat in here. It must be 85, 90 degrees down there. They practiced for an hour before the telecast, and it's been a little bit of a strain on Janello so far.
Well, we notice one thing that is absent in his bowling style. He has yet to coax the ball verbally. He does it in all the telecasts we've had him, 16, third this year. Talks to the ball, coaxes it. Maybe he'll find out what's wrong.
Well, it wasn't behaving very well for him, so maybe he just quit talking. It was talking back. He only averaged 170 in his 2 other championship round performances this year, but he must get on the stick right now as a potential 216.
And a 10 on the left.
Janello, his forte is consistency. He bowled 26 consecutive 200-plus games this week in a 48-game format, by far the most, as you see the pin setters setting in those pre-weighed 3-pound 8-ounce pins, 21 in each rack to assure that there's no delay.
We're in our second game. The winner will meet the number 2 seed, Tony Westlake, and then the tournament leader, Dave Ferraro. Last year's winner, Ballard. 3 in a row.
Please.
Not to be the 2-7.
The direction was proper, but the speed was incorrect. He went about 18 or 19 miles an hour there, and he has to get the ball between the 2 and let it carry into the 7. A very simple spare, right in here, let the ball carry into the 7. A shot that Ballard should make almost every time. If he does, he'll continue to lead by 39.
Oh, no.
No, you heard it. That coming in the 8th frame and open, 172 through 8, and his lead now is 227.
Jimerson from Missouri, a St. Louis fighter. I think he has a chance against Maynard. I'd like to see the St. Louis fighter win that fight. Should be very close, and then it's a boxing doubleheader tomorrow with the other fight. I like Doug DeWitt over Nigel Benn. 9th frame.
All right. That's professional comeback by Ballard following the open. Foundation nights for Ballard.
He needs just one mark in the last, or both marks, to shut him out. Here's one in the 9th frame, a strike, and the job in front of Don Genalo is he must strike 9th, 10th, and 11th frames to have any chance. Right here.
Still alive. Don Genalo. 6 titles. Hasn't won since '86. King Louis twice, Long Island Open, Seattle Open, in Milwaukee, and the one in Windsor, his last.
Janello, a great clutch player, has won 2 of his championships, the King Louis and the Milwaukee tournament, with strikes in the 10th frame, and he's backed up to that situation right now. He must strike on this ball and the next ball to have any chance to win the match.
With the pressure on, Janello performs. 17 pins behind at this moment.
And I think there's something for all bowlers, even some top pros, to learn by Don Genalo under the pressure. He maintains his form and holds that follow-through until the ball hits the pins. Now, this is a must situation, as Ballard knows if Janello strikes, he must get a mark. Janello, watch this form. Must strike.
Now, he knew it practically the moment. Left his hands. 2-4-10.
Ball just slipped out from his hands. We've seen it 2 or 3 times. The ball sliding off the hands, a lot of perspiration. You have to use some rosin. Mary Janello obviously disappointed, as Don will finish.
Trying for the 1-2-10 and failing. Shooting a game of 190. Ballard now is up. Winning just a year ago right here. There it is. Now Ballard. His hopes of back-to-back still alive. Nelson Burton's tip of the week today, converting the 5-7. You'll learn a lot, so watch and listen.
week's bowling tip of the week is on split making. And the most common pocket split is the 5-7. Now, most people are discouraged when they leave the 5-7 split, but they shouldn't be because it's a very simple split to make. All that you have to do is from your strike position, which I have marked here with a red tape, move 3 boards to the left on the approach. 1, 2, 3. Now, roll the ball over your strike target, which was the second arrow for me. I have red tape over the second arrow. Then the ball will come in light on the 5-pin, sliding the 5-pin over into the 7-pin zone. This makes the split very easy to convert, and you can go on to a much better game. Watch this shot. All right, over the second arrow, slide the 5 into the 7. There you have it. With a 5-7 split, move 3 boards to the left of your strike target on the approach and roll it over your second arrow strike target.
ABC Sports brings you the ultimate bowling home video.
Now, let's get on with the action.
Learn how to fix your problems the right way. Improve your game strategy. And practice smarter. It's Bo Burton's instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
There's something new coming to you from Budweiser. Something completely new. It's completely different and completely refreshing. Introducing Bud Dry. It's cold filtered for smooth draft taste and dry brewed for no aftertaste. So if you're looking for smooth draft taste and no aftertaste, try Bud Dry.
None, because there are no unimportant parts.
So the defending champ is still in line. He has a 220 to 190 victory over Don Genalo, Ballard Jr. with 7 strikes. Here's a man that's really helped the PBA, great organization, and its commissioner, Joe Antonor. Thank him for hosting us so effectively and in a fun manner. Okay, our spring tour beginning May 19th. Seattle Open, followed by the Oregon Open in Portland. Get out in that great northwestern area. It's going to be wonderful. Okay, we'll be...
The Firestone Tournament of Champions, a little bit different field. 52 instead of 160. The average game pretty high, 215. Here's some of the other finishers. Hugh Miller just missing. Berardi, McDowell, Ozio, all these players champions qualifying for this tournament. Mats Carlson, Deadeye, 11th. The Eagle, $4,000. The leading player on the tour so far, Monticelli. Roth, bowling very well. Lost his bowling ball area. He'd have been a little bit higher. I'll be up there. Won last week. Twitch Soper, our statistician. Tommy Baker's bowling very well. 2-time champion Mark Williams. Lefty Jess Stayrook, 19th. Ron Williams. Joe Salvemini, 21st. Big Steve Cook, former champion here. Weissman, who won in Baltimore. Charlie Tapp, 24th, rounding out the top 24, 52 players. They all cashed $1,600 to the last player.
Standing room only crowd here at Riviera Lanes in Fairlawn, Ohio. And stepping in now to accept the challenge of Del Ballard is Tony Westlake from Edmond, Oklahoma. First shot. Ten-pin.
Tell you, when you have equal oil or lane conditioner, gutter to gutter, there is no bonus in moving to any particular line that you're not comfortable with. You see Tony Westlake playing the extreme outside line about the second board. We saw Janello, who plays a little less hook than Westlake, playing inside in the track. So you can play almost anywhere you want this week.
All right, Tony, who has 2 titles to his credit, the Greater Hartford in '88 and the El Paso Open in '89, 4th telecast this year. And you're looking at Del Ballard now in his 3rd telecast in our winter tour this year.
he's starting to develop that shot we saw him win with in 1989, where he can go all the way out to the very last board and bring it in light for the swisher hit, or pull it just a little bit into about the third board and have it set up. And they got a bad break, leaving a solid 10, but he's got to like that ball reaction.
Stuck a little bit at the line, worried that he might go over the foul line. Del Ballard, who last year in a 6-tournament span was in 5 finals, 4 in a row, and a victory.
Ballard playing the big hook. He'll stand way to the extreme left side of the approach. He'll walk on a line almost to the center. Then he'll play a hook ball out over the third, all the way out to the channel into the 1-3. A lot of power, but difficult to control.
Oh, thank you. All right, leaving a 6-pin on the left lane. Getting very difficult, this championship pair, Bo.
Well, we've seen players over the years have a little bit of trouble. I think it's the extra pressure, as you see the pin action of Del's ball crossing across the head pin. The extra pressure, the heat in the building, and obviously nothing going real good right now for anybody.
Didn't go too well for the man who won 3 tournaments this year. Jim Pensack finishing 34th, Petragia 37th. Chris Warren 25th.
Tony Westlake, who plays the extreme outside line, a great clutch player, has hit the pocket almost every ball in the championship round this year.
A 2.
Westlake with that upright style and kind of a shuffle 4.5 step delivery, shoulder high arm swing, balances those shoulders up. Good follow through, very confident with his game, well practiced.
Okay. Here are the leaders by rounds. Mark Baker, who was eliminated in the first game, led the first 3. Then the man who's bowling now, Westlake, for 2. And our tournament leader up next, Dave Ferraro.
Format a little bit different for the Firestone. 24 games of qualifying as opposed to 18 in a normal tournament, and then 24 match game finals, 48 in all.
Tony, after 3 frames, finally a strike. Remember, he was second here in 1988. And during the week had 2 300s, Westlake. Ballard, confidence of having won here last year.
Yeah.
Del's first victory was the United States Open. And what a win it was for him, the $100,000 check, receiving it in Tacoma, Washington.
His reaction, the ball swinging very wide. See how he kept his eyes down on his target all the way down the lane. His concentration very good. And we talk about Jim Pensack, who set a record so far, 15 straight wins on ABC. Del Ballard once went 9 in a row, so he can get red hot.
Hook, hook, baby, hit. Yeah! The last moment, and that double moves Ballard out to a 10-pin lead. Let's replay it.
Watch the 6-pin. Just kind of stands over there to the right. Love tap to the 10. Ballard has a 10-pin lead, and we know that Westlake can come back. We'll see if you come back after this.
Your wood trim is going. Your paint is why. Because most premium paints aren't formulated to stop moisture damage. And before you know it, your wood trim is gone. You need Rust-Oleum Wood Saver Trim Paint. Formulated with Teflon and other ingredients, it forms a superior barrier to resist moisture. So don't wait. Replace your paint. Or you could replace your wood.
I wish I had $1 for every place that tried to beat Midas at foreign car repair. They'd have to stock the most foreign car mufflers and brakes and have trained experts who do the job right.
A lot of them have tried, but nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
My athlete's foot kept flaring up. I'd put it out, and it'd just flare up again. Then my doctor told me about Tinactin. It cures recurring athlete's foot. Use it regularly, and it'll keep the fire from coming back.
Tinactin puts the fire out for good.
Top PGA players head deep into the heart of Texas for Golf Showdown. Live coverage of the GTE Byron Nelson Classic begins next Saturday on ABC Sports.
Here's a reaction after the double by Del Ballard. Happy Texan. And the Oklahoman from Edmond. He has come up with a strike for a double, and the game is getting close. We go to Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Our tournament leader, Dave Ferraro, a major title, obviously, in $50,000. Do you feel that money's yours? Is anybody going to take it away from you?
Well, I'm going to try my best to take it home. I'm really not going to be thinking about the money. I'm just going to go out and bowl the game, and then when it's over, we'll worry about what to do with the money.
David, we'll find out in 30 minutes. Good luck. Back to you, Chris.
And Tony Westlake, his roommate on the tour, has just tripled and has now taken the lead by 10 pins. So Del Ballard is up. He has a double working. He can even it up with this shot.
Hit. Yeah!
Oh, yes. A Texan and a Sooner head-to-head to get the right to go against Dave Ferraro for the $50,000 first prize.
As television coordinator for all 29 years, Frank Esposito would say, the game is on. Both players have 3 strikes in a row, match all even through 5 frames. Big semifinal.
Del hoping to take a lead. He has a 2-sleeper 9 and a 10.
Del Ballard just didn't look like he set himself on the approach, as he's got a very difficult shot right here, the 3-9-10. Needs to get the ball over in the 3-9 area, carry out the 9 pin. Watch this. The ball has to work in between the 9 and 10 pins. A tough shot. Del Ballard can do that. He'll only trail by 3 pins.
Come on. Yes. Oh, yes. That's excellent. Skill.
This man came to play. Tough shot, pressure situation, makes it perfectly. See how Westlake reacts to that. Sometimes when a guy makes a split, the other player has a little extra pressure on him.
Count them, 4 in a row for 5'6" Tony Westlake. Incidentally, the average size of the field, 5'11" and 174 pounds, and 34 years of age. Here's what he said about some bad breaks in his last 2 outings.
Well, I've hit the pocket 23 out of 24 shots the last 2 telecasts, and I've had a little bad luck, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to keep making the TV shows, and sooner or later something will go my way.
And right now it's going all Tony Westlake's lead. 23-pin lead.
All right, and there's Tony's wife, Mary, here to cheer him on. We'll be back with more of this semifinal game.
Your True Value hardware store knows it's the details that make your house a home. Things like the security of a True Guard entry lock set with a polished brass finish. It's just $14.88. Or the handsome look of a Sunlight solid oak toilet seat with brass hinges, only $17.95. Or the convenience of a master electrician retractable cord reel with a trouble light. It's just $14.99 at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Nothing hurts a bowler's performance like an out-of-balance ball. That's why I teamed up with the people at Ebonite to develop the Thunderbolt Dual Block. Its patented weight placement system as a dual weight block to offset the weight removed by drilling with incredible precision, making every roll more stable, every impact more powerful.
The Thunderbolt Dual Block from Ebonite.
Spring fever hits the Great Northwest. The Pro Bowlers Spring Tour rolls in with the Seattle Open. It all begins in 3 weeks on ABC Sports.
This is the way Bo and I see the action. Del Ballard. Tough break. leaving the 3-6-10.
Something you don't see much of Del Ballard is a variance in speed. He'll throw the ball real hard one time on the right-hand lane, then he'll ease up. You have to have speed control, but one of the best things he does is control it. And right now, he's hard, soft, hard, soft. Can't seem to get the combination. He trails by 26.
Our first game today, Don Genalo eliminated Mark Baker 227 to 182. Ballard 220 over Janello's 190. And now in his third match of the afternoon, Ballard having trouble with the precision of Tony Westlake.
The big hook ball, you have to accommodate it with a wave far move on the left part of the approach and play that big hook out between the second and third arrow. Needs to get some strikes.
Leaving the 6-pin.
Right now for Del Ballard, let's convert the 6-pin for him. If he strikes out, he'll have a 232 game. Tony Westlake, if he spare strikes the rest of the way, he'll be in the high 230s. So it behooves Del Ballard to start throwing strikes as Tony Westlake looks very sharp.
The confused look on Del's face.
Westlake usually increases his speed a little bit under pressure. Right now, he can really put the hurts on his opponent.
An 8.
Chris, you know, we talked about, and even listened to his interview, he has thrown 23 out of 24 balls in the pocket in his 2 losses this year, and here's almost a perfect shot. Watch the dynamics of a solid 8. The ball hits the 1-3 and chops the 5 straight back off the 8. The 5 should take out the 8. Bad break for Westlake, but he can afford it. He's at the 27-pin lead.
And he made sure all the ball on that pin.
Now, Westlake plays the down and in shot, and he's playing the extreme outside line. So he'll stand to the right side of the approach and play a shot out around the first arrow. Now, he'll get the position over on the right side. He'll slide right about the 11th or 12th board, and he'll start the ball outside the first arrow and let it break sharply into the pocket. A terrific angle if you can control it.
And Tony's wife, Mary, watching along with you. Now Ballard trailing by 26, and here is the big 9th frame.
Sprinkle. All right.
It's very loose, going up to the line that time and stroking it.
Going along, baby.
Well, he's trying to urge himself on. The scoreboard tells the story, 26-pin difference. Ballard must strike on this ball if he has a chance, if he has a chance to become the first man to win 2 in a row. Absolutely must strike. Not to be. The pink ball went out there and looked like it had plenty of power on it, but he's using that ball to cut his hook down. Didn't have enough power when it got to the 1-3 area. The 6-pin does not do the job on the 10. The best Ballard can roll is 212. He'll have to settle for 3rd place.
And that'll be $20,000, and that'll supply some fuel for his 1967 Shelby Mustang GT 500. Hobby of collecting all types of Carroll Shelby-inspired autos, muscle cars.
Well, it don't matter. That's ball.
Well, it didn't matter. It's disappointing 209 for the defending champion, Don Ballard. So here is Westlake. And there it is. So now, roommates will go head-to-head between them, battling for $78,000. Stay tuned.
To prove how long Rain Dance Car Wax lasts, just add water.
rain dance, the longest-lasting protection you can buy.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered the 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
Doctors and dollars, enough to make you sick? A week of solutions to why we pay the most in the world for our health care. Watch Peter Jennings on ABC's World News Tonight next week.
Before you choose a body shop to paint your car, have they painted more than 5 million cars? Can they deliver this kind of work at a price you're willing to pay? And do they back their work in writing? If you don't know, you better get Mako.
This is a copycat, and so is this. Because Ford Taurus was first with its unique aero design. Not the Honda Accord. But the 4-cylinder Accord has yet to copy the Ford's powerful V6 engine, or an interior that seats 6, or a driver's side airbag as standard equipment. For quality, price, and value, you can't beat the originals, the Ford Taurus and Taurus wagon. What will they copy next?
Now get $1,000 cash back on Ford Taurus, only at your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
Different parts to play in the American Red Cross. Play your part.
Tom Berenger stars in Rustler's Rhapsody, Sunday at 1 on 27 WHDF.
I'm Frank Gifford. Don't forget, coming up at 4:30 Eastern Time on ABC's Wide World of Sports, I'll be here in Memphis, Tennessee for the U.S. Olympic Challenge. The United States taking on East Germany in women's gymnastics. You'll see it live. Plus, with the Kentucky Derby now just 1 week away, we'll be at Churchill Downs in Louisville for live coverage of the Derby trial. And as Wide World of Sports celebrates its 29th anniversary, we'll take a moving look at some of the show's very special moments. But right now, let's rejoin Chris Schenkel for the final match of the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
All right, thank you very much, Frank. And with 9 strikes, Tony Westlake has eliminated the defending champion 258 to 209 in one of the grueling individual sports. Now, Bo and I are the 2 guys up front in our telecast. No way individual. This is a team effort. And it's a pleasure now to salute them. All talented, all wonderful people that we enjoy working with year in and year out. Original music titled Sweet Spot. Those were the names you see from time to time, following with the names of those that are here every week, but don't get the credit they rightfully deserve. Sweet Spot dedicated to the bowlers.
They get lonely, lonely as can be. They get hurt, they get knocked down, but that won't happen to me. I know inside as the butter, don't want to slip in the gutter. God is death, up to the line. Take the chance on making it mine. We're going for the sweet spot. I feel it coming on. Going with my sweet shot while the heat is on. Going for the sweet spot, 'cause it feels so good. Going with my sweet shot, like I knew I would.
Okay, the men and women that make it all happen. Thank you, guys and gals. Now for the championship game. Getting into the final against his roommate by eliminating Del Ballard, Tony Westlake. Man with a wry smile, extremely quiet, terrific pool player too, by the way. And now Dave Ferraro, our tournament leader, This week, only one game under 200 in 48. 210, Bo.
What a tough way to start. Ferraro, just a terrific competitor, has had 6 second-place finishes, and he is really kind of disturbed about it. And he leaves a split here he can make by sliding the 2-pin over into the 10. Not a real tough shot, but he's not really into the match yet. That's just the first frame.
Well, that's out of the way. An open frame in the first, a count of 8. So,
he tries pointing the ball straight across the lane, figuring it's not going to hook very much crossing the lane, and he takes a tremendous break as it gets to about the 35-foot mark down there, and the ball obviously misses both pins. A big opening. Dave Ferraro has to recover early. Westlake looks tough.
So here in Dave Ferraro's third Firestone, finishing 6th in 87. He has left the 2-pin.
I remember when I first saw Dave Ferraro come on the tour about 10 years ago with his brother Steve, both real raw talented players. Dave has turned into one of the premier players out here.
30 years old, 5'8", 160 pounds. He and his wife Gloria have one son named John. Tony Westlake, his wife Mary, watching here at Riviera Lanes. Final game for the Firestone title. Being pretty impressive against his roommate, Bo.
That he is, Chris, and the way his ball is working, you saw Ferraro's ball kind of hesitate as he went wide, and it just slid by the head pin both times, where Westlake gets down there about 41, 42 feet and just makes a left turn right in the 1-3 pocket. And if he can maintain that, this could be a whitewash here in the championship game.
So it shows that Tony's human, leading the 4-pin.
Tony, who used to work as a food service salesman servicing restaurants and schools, you see him send a shot out over the first arrow, but he doesn't send it quite wide enough. Ball drifts a pinch high, leaves the 4, an easy spare.
And convinced by Richard Altman of Edmond, Oklahoma to come out and give it a try. Now Tony's on his own, and we'll be seeing Richard and be in Edmond, Oklahoma for a final stop of the spring tour telecast.
July 28th, almost on all summer.
Leaving a 6. Bo, is he lofting it a little more out on the lanes?
Chris, he does play the big loft, and he always does, but he made an adjustment there quickly. He slid by the head pin the first 2 frames, moves to the right on the approach, hoping the ball will set up in the pocket, but it drifts too high. He's confused.
Last night in the position round game, Dave shot a 257, but Tony Westlake shot a 261.
Now both players are playing the extreme outside line. They play just the medium hook, and you'll see Dave Ferraro take a position on the approach on the right side of the approach. He'll slide in an area right around the center of the lane and play a medium hook just outside the first arrow. Needs to get something cooking here, though, to put some pressure on Westlake.
Like that. 2 friends bowling for $78,000 here at the Firestone.
We put our Firestone Firehawk GTX to the test and won. The H-rated Firestone Firehawk GTX all-season performance radio, head-to-head against Goodyear, Goodrich, and General. It beat them all. Firestone, tires that meet the test.
I'm beat. So's the competition.
The Firestone Firehawk GTX, backed by a 40,000-mile limited treadwear warranty. Buy 4 by May 31st and get $50 back.
Hi. Take your feet off the table. Now, here's your bag of Eagle potato chips. Here's my bag of Eagle potato chips. Now, we're going to open them. Not like an animal. Watch me. I open it easily. I remove 1 chip. Now, I taste it. Mmm. The quintessence of taste and crunchiness. Go ahead.
Eagle potato chips, everyone loves them.
This is the way cameraman Frank Melchiori sees it. A shot by another friend, Gene Kelly.
Westlake, 4-frame, leads by 22.
Leaving a 10.
As we were getting ready to come out of commercial, Westlake was trying to get up on the approach very quickly and almost fast bowl Dave Ferraro. It's a good match game technique when you have your player on the ropes to try to speed up the play. TV coordinator Frank Esposito made him slow down, but this man knows all the tricks.
Okay, watching along with Frank, even closer than we are, Harry Golden, our tournament director. All 29 years for a great guy, and Kevin Shippey and Mike Sands and Bobby Dinkins have helped us so much. This our 29th year on ABC. Strike after a spare, that coming in the 5th frame. Now it's up to Dave Ferraro. He can cut Westlake's lead to 11 with a strike here, shooting in the 5th frame. Oh, it's a tight match again at only 11 pins. Earlier we asked Dave Ferraro had 6 second-place finishes since your last one. Does that bother you?
Well, I think it's a little frustrating finishing second. I think everybody's out here to win, and I think when you go into a match, that's how you approach it. I don't think my confidence is down because I felt I bowled well in a championship match. I don't think I bowled under 215 or 216 in any of the title matches. So, no, I think I'm pretty confident going into today.
Can cut the lead of Westlake's down to 1 pin with a strike in the 6th.
It does. And with all those second-place finishes, last year earned $137,907. The year before, $150,000. What a player. So is this man.
I don't believe either one of these players is going to lose the match. One of them has to beat the other. 2 tough competitors all the way through.
Classic. Tony Westlake with a big double, and the man that had not that type of good fortune in the first game, Mark Baker, is up here with Bo and me.
Good to be up here. Well, Mark, obviously the hook ball players, you and Ballard, really struggled. The down and inners look like they have the best shot. Who do you think is going to win the match?
I think whoever strikes in the 10th. These two get to the best shots all week, and they're proving it today.
All right, good prediction. Let's see what happens.
Leaving a 2-pin with a double working Tony Westlake.
It's only the 3rd time that Tony Westlake has missed the 1-3 pocket in 4 championship round games today. He lets the ball slide by on the lane. It's a little bit tighter. Lane 27 gets a great break. He could have left the 2-7-8 split. With a conversion here, he will lead by 10.
Tony was 4th in the United States Open in Indianapolis.
Dave Ferraro playing a little bit more hook than Westlake. You see him from the overhead. He'll drift to the right, loft that ball well out over the lane. If he strikes here, the match will be even.
All right. 4-bagger for the Kingston, New York native. His family, his father Jack with the 2 bowling establishments in the area.
The upright style of a tough competitor, Dave Ferraro. Short backswing, upright style, good loft, determined look on his face. And Chris, you usually get a feeling of who's going to win a match. I've sat here 16 years, you 29, and I have no feeling at all. Both players are dead even through 7 frames, 48 games, and both players do not give them away.
All right, there is the trophy. In it will be a $50,000 check, but the main thing is it's a major victory for the guy that comes out on top. Mark, you feel the same as we do?
Oh, it's definitely the greatest tournament of the year, and one thing I'm surprised Dave picked the left lane to finish on. I think all the guys agreed that was the tougher of the 2 lanes, but so far he's proving everybody wrong.
Well, just the statistics, though, say that the man who finishes on the left lane, Mark, all year long wins 58% of the matches. So statistically, he made the right move. 3 frames left to decide the match.
Wow. Dave now has strung 5. Got that determination and that stroke.
Well, Ferraro, as he said in those 6 second-place finishes, has hit the pocket very well, but it won't deter this man.
No, he says.
Solid 10. That'll leave a difference of 11 pins in the match with just 2 frames to go. Both these players, excellent spare shooters. This should be no problem for Tony Westlake.
Tony missed last week at the Greater Hartford Open. He had won it the previous year. So actually he's on a string of 3 in a row in the finals and on television.
Neither one of these players has won a major. 2 frames from now, somebody will have their first major and a 5-year exemption into this tournament.
Disappointment. At 4-pin, wobbling.
Westlake, who is a great player under pressure, usually throws a little bit harder as he gets closer to the pressure shots. In Hartford, where he won, as you see his reaction to the shot, he went 17, 18, 19, and 20 miles an hour the last 4 frames in that victory. Unbelievable right there.
Unbelievable.
Well, you can just bet everything you own there in Lake Tippecanoe, Chris Schenkel, that this ball for Dave Ferraro is going to be in the pocket. Just a little bit lazy on that shot. Westlake, the voice of Baker, I'll bet this one's in the pocket. Did he want that one?
Oh. Dave Ferraro, our tournament leader, who at one time thought about becoming a harness driver.
He knows if he strikes here, it's lockjaws. Now he must spare and mark in the 10th for the Firestone title.
One of the reasons Dave Ferraro didn't become a standard-bred driver was the fact he suffers from hay fever. And hay doesn't help.
Man who works with the Big Brother charities, his wife calls him Salt because he salts away all his money and saves it very well. And if he can strike on this ball, he can salt away 50 grand. 10th frame.
Wow. There's a tremendous champion, deserves a major, right along with his 4 other PBA championships.
For the wheat, as the pros say, 20 miles an hour, Dave Ferraro just slams all 10 pins in the pit, has a possible 236, his first major title, and has broken his string of 2nd place finishes 6 times in the last 6 tournaments.
Reversing the decision of the final game against each other last night when Westlake won. But Ferraro becomes the 26th Firestone Tournament of Champions winner. And the runner-up, Tony Westlake. For Tony Westlake, what disappointment. Second time he has finished twice in the Firestone. We'll have that final score. It's 226 for the winner. Ferraro will have Westlake's. When we come back, an opportunity to chat with that man, Dave Ferraro of Kingston, New York. Now let's go to Frank.
Thank you, Chris. And coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the U.S. Olympic Challenge. The United States takes on East Germany in women's gymnastics live. And from Churchill Downs in Louisville, we'll have live coverage of the Derby trial as Wide World of Sports celebrates his 29th anniversary this weekend. We'll be back with Chris Schenkel in Akron right after this.
I've made up my mind. I'm going to do it. Why shouldn't I? I'm the one who has to look at myself in the mirror every morning. So before I lose another hair, I'm going to the doctor. I know doctors have treatment programs that are proven to work. More guys are trying them every day. I'm not bad now, but I wouldn't mind looking better.
Your doctor can really do something about hair loss. So see your doctor, or call this toll-free number.
A kiss? Oh, not right now.
You really don't want to kiss me.
Dangerous. Very dangerous.
Give me a minute, honey.
Don't let morning breath ruin a good morning. Get Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients to kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Didn't I hear something about a kiss?
Right here. Right now.
Kiss. It is time for a kiss.
Scope, the best thing, first thing in the morning.
Hey, you. Put that kiss right here.
The rush of icy clean freshness. Now you can feel it every morning with the power of peppermint. Peppermint Scope.
You know, when springtime gets here, everything happens all at once.
Really?
Boom. Clean up the backyard, trim the bushes, fix the roof. There's no end to the things that have to be done.
Right.
So what do?
What do you do?
Ask Ace. Hey, Ace is the place for me.
John, about you on the roof.
Here he is. Firestone Tournament of Champion. Here's the final score, defeating his roommate, who we have to say, Dave, is the runner-up, not the loser. As you look at the money, you can see that Tony Westlake gets $28,000, and for the champion, $50,000, and so on down the line for the other 3 competitors that made it a memorable afternoon, especially for you.
Yeah, oh, this is unbelievable. I'm sure it's not going to sink in for a week or two, but I'd like to thank Firestone and Tom Reese for sponsoring the tournament. This is by far the best stop on tour, and the media coverage and the whole works. I think when you're growing up, you always want to be in that position to win the Firestone. I know I used to always play make-believe and say, I need a hit to win the Firestone, and we did it.
Got the hit. Let's go to Bo Burton with Tony Westlake.
Thank you, Chris. The man who is the runner-up, a very tough Tony Westlake. Tony, you were runner-up 2 years ago, and you were right in the match until right at the end. Then you had a 2-pin, and then something that hardly any of us could believe, you missed the 4-pin. What happened on that shot?
I was just a little nervous and didn't take my time and just missed it.
You've been nervous before, though, and performed in the clutch, throwing strikes, let's say at Hartford, where you finished with 4 in a row to win it. A simple spare, obviously, it was the little chink in the armor.
Yeah, I rushed the shot, and I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. I was, a little upset that I hit the pocket again every shot but one, and didn't win again.
Do you have any effect on you that knowing you're playing another real tough clutch player, a guy who can perform in a clutch, Dave Ferraro, if it came down to the 10th, it was a battle of 2 titans?
Yeah, I knew he wasn't going to make a bad shot, once he got lined up, and I knew I had to get a lot of strikes to win.
Well, you got a lot of strikes early, and Dave Ferraro threw a lot of strikes right at the end, so you have next year coming back, and obviously your roommate won it, and so you're going to come back to the spring tour. You seem red hot now, be in Seattle on May 19th.
Yeah, we'll be there. If Dave and I can bowl this well in the doubles, I think we'll do real well.
Well, that's his doubles partner, Chris. They should be very tough. Here's the champ.
Okay, and now his roommate, Dave Ferraro, with Tom Reese holding the Firestone trophy, Tom being Vice President of Firestone Tire Sales. Tom?
Thank you, Chris. Dave, it is with pleasure that I present to you the most prestigious and coveted award in professional bowling, the Firestone Tournament of Champions Silver Cup. Congratulations.
It's sort of a great victory, Dave, for a bowling family, the Ferraros.
Yeah, I always thought the first title was special, but this is by far the best one.
Okay, here's something else that's special.
Along with the $50,000 for your effort today. Congratulations.
David, that sort of makes amends for all those second-place finishes.
I think so. This makes up for all of them.
You glad you didn't become a harness driver?
No, not now.
What are your plans now after this first major championship and some time off?
Well, we're going to bowl the Masters next week, and then I was going to bowl the whole spring tour, but I think I'm going to take a few weeks off now.
At the request of one Gloria, right?
Yeah, I go home, spend some time with the family.
And then the spring tour all the way through it.
Yeah, and we're going to bowl doubles with Tony, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, I hope you both can win because I know Tony is very disappointed, but that roommate is a tough competitor and will win this one year.
Yeah, it's too bad somebody had to lose in the last match, but in my mind, he won also.
Let's hear it for the champion. David Ferraro, for Nelson Burton Jr. and all our ABC pals, thank you for watching our telecast 16 weeks on the Winter Tour.
Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the U.S. goes head-to-head with East Germany in women's gymnastics. Plus, the Derby trial and a preview of the Kentucky Derby. The Pro Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by Firestone. Tires that meet the test. By Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. And by Ebonite, makers of the Thunderbolt Dual Block. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world